Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. Today I'm going to talk about the president's new initiative. The president launched a new initiative called My Brother's Keeper. And for doing so, I want to salute the president. I commend what he's doing. Many people have tried to say that Obama has not done enough for black people. And I've written about this topic before. Um, I have a whole blog article explaining why I support President Obama. And I will include a link to that article in the description box to this video. It lays out what Obama has done to benefit African Americans. It makes the case that he has done plenty of things that are worthy of attention. But this recent initiative is something that stands out. It's something that we need to recognize and commend him for. And I salute the president for launching this initiative, because it is a sign that he is willing to reach out and address the problems that plague the African American communities. This is another example of what Obama has done. But the thing that makes this stand out is the fact that it's specifically designed and targeted to address the problems that affect primarily African American communities. It also deals with Latino communities as well. But this problem is something that Obama has decided to directly address by launching this initiative. And he deserves our respect for doing so. What he's doing is he's gathering, business leaders, he's gathering philanthropists and the faith community to basically put together programs or to help improve or further finance programs that are successful in black communities. He's going to help gather $200 million to invest in these projects that are designed to better communities, to help support African American boys. African American boys are basically under attack in this society. They're under attack by the criminal justice system. They are deprived of certain resources, and we've basically been falling through the cracks. And our problems and concerns have not been addressed by really either party. Despite who comes into the White House and who leaves the White House, a lot of the problems in our communities remain the same. So, I'm glad to see the president taking a step to address some of the problems. And I'm glad that his program is directly targeted at African American men because, we really have a crisis in our community. The incarceration rate is obscene. The violence rate in our communities is a crisis level event that needs to be addressed. And I'm glad that the president is starting this initiative. Under this plan, $200 million will be invested in programs that actually have a proven track record of helping African American boys and men. So, I commend the president, and I really hope that this program is successful. I hope that this is not just a publicity stunt or a photo opportunity. I hope that it is something that produces tangible and measurable results that reflect improvement in our communities. So again, I salute the president for this effort. Now, during his press conference or his meeting about this initiative, the president talked about personal responsibility. And that's an issue that he constantly talks about when he speaks to black audiences. While I appreciate his initiative and, I do recognize the need for personal responsibility, I just think that he overemphasizes that issue over other issues. Obviously, personal responsibility is key to any success. You have to take responsibility for your actions. That is the only way that you are going to be successful. And, obviously, nobody wants to hear excuses. This is a very competitive world that we live in, obviously. And, it's all about striving for excellence in every endeavor that we engage in. And that's something that we need to take to heart, and we need to make that manifest in our lives, obviously. All of us need to take personal responsibility because, when you make bad decisions, you impact others and you impact yourself, you destroy your own life, or you make it more difficult for yourself. So obviously those are issues that need to be addressed in our community. We need to address issues of inner city violence. We need to address issues of teen pregnancy. We need to address other issues in our community, like the Black family. All of those issues are key. But also, we have to realize that many of the problems in our community are exaggerated in the media and distorted in the media. And key issues to the improvement of our community are not being raised by the president when he makes these public statements. He doesn't talk about a war on poverty. He doesn't talk about mass incarceration. He does not talk about institutionalized racism. Those issues have to be addressed. Institutionalized racism has to be addressed because it's at the core of many of the problems that we face in our communities. Many of the problems that we face are not problems that can be solved by individual personal responsibility, quote unquote, or pulling someone up by their bootstraps, or do for self type of rhetoric. Our problems are much larger than that, and they need to be addressed in a systemic and institutional way, because that's what those problems are. We have a problem of mass incarceration, and that problem is driven by, racial profiling. It's driven by selective enforcement of the drug laws in this country. You have the continuing problem of police brutality in Black communities. You have the problem of failing schools in the Black communities. You have the problem of the influx of drugs and guns into impoverished environments. And poverty basically breeds a cycle of violence, a cycle of crime, a cycle of drug addiction and drug abuse. And as long as you don't address the larger problem of poverty, as long as you don't address, institutionalized racism, these problems will continue to exist, despite all these rhetoric laced speeches about personal responsibility. And, often in the president's speeches, he talks about fathers being missing in action. It is a fact that often African American fathers do not live in the same household with their children. However, there are studies that have been released, and I'll include a link to one of those studies, or to an article discussing the study. But in the study, it talks about how even though African American men are more likely not to live with their children, they are involved in their children's lives, even more so than whites and Latinos. So we need to stop with this rhetoric about the absentee Black father syndrome, because the situation is not nearly as bad as it is portrayed in the media. So again, I commend the president's effort, but I also would like the president to speak more frequently about institutionalized racism in this country. And I know that the president has done things to address a lot of the issues, or attempt to move in a direction of addressing those issues. I know about his Race to the Top program. I know about um, what the president did to enact the Fair Sentencing Act, which reduces the disparity between crack and powder cocaine. And those things have real impact on our lives. But I also understand that there's so much more that not only the president can do, but Congress can do to address a lot of the institutionalized problems that exist in our communities. So, with that, I look forward to hearing your comments, your views on this issue. So, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Peace. Before I go, there's one other thing. You have the examples of Jordan Davis and Trayvon Martin. Personal responsibility wouldn't have saved either one of those brothers. Both of them were killed by white men, basically. Their homicides were completely unjustified. So, again, that's another reminder that personal responsibility does not address all of the issues that exist in our communities and our society. Larger questions of individual racism and institutional racism need to be addressed.